Okay, good evening everyone, and we are continuing here in the weekly Parsha. Today is PARSHAS KORACH. It's not just PARSHAS KORACH, it is the end of a very difficult week in Klal Yisrael. The war and the battles continue. America has entered in to an extent, at the time that we are recording this right now, I don't know what will be like before Shabbos. And each and every one of us, with our introspection, as we begin to examine ourselves and ask, Ma Hashem Elokecha Shol Me'imach, what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want of you? What does He want of me? What should my response be to the war that is going on? What should my response be to the forces of evil that are trying to attack Klal Yisrael? What should my response be? How can I talk to the Rabbi and answer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and show Hashem that Hashem, Ani Itcha, I'm with you, Hashem. And I want that the situation should get better, and that Klal Yisrael should be victorious, and the number of deaths should no longer rise, and those that have been injured should get healed, and that Klal Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael should once again reside as a nation of Torah, a nation of mitzvahs, a nation of Kedusha, and of tremendous strength, Ruchnius, and in the Gashmius. So, Ma Hashem Elokecha Shol Me'imach, what in fact does Hashem want from us now during this time? This very pivotal moment in our history. Nobody knows from day to day what will take place. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, help me. Because I want to help you win this battle. I want to help you defeat our enemies. I want to lend my support and my ammunition and my koyach and my neshama to your world, Hashem. Although that the media will tell you that it's all in the hands of the armies, we know that it's really in your hands, Ribbono Shel Olam. So please tell me, what could I do? And as we mentioned in previous weeks, the answer to our questions is always found in Torah. And the weekly Parsha is never by chance, not a coincidence. It is not a mikra that this is the week that we're going to read PARSHAS KORACH, because the messages are reverberating through the history of Klal Yisrael for thousands of years. And what Klal Yisrael struggled with in the Midbar, we can continue to struggle with, unfortunately, in our very day and age. And if perhaps we will understand how to be mesaken, to correct and to fix that which took place so many thousands of years ago, then we will add strength. Tenu oiz la'elokim, we will give the oiz, we will give the fervor, the strength, the glory to Hashem. To be the Ish Melchama, the man of war, the God of war, who will undo the efforts of our enemies. And He will bring shalom, He will bring peace to Klal Yisrael once again. And Korach, unfortunately, is a lesson that continues to go for all generations. It is the art of Machlokes, of arguments. It is the insidious act of fighting with another Jew, of being contentious, of waging battles and wars, because somebody has something more than you have. Somebody is more successful than you are. Somebody is prettier or more handsome, or they are more strapping than you are. Or their money seems to come much easier in Parnasa than yours does. And the brachas in their family are many more than yours are. And their reputation, and their shem tov, their good name, which they don't even seem to work on so much. It just goes and it flows so beautifully. And so we get jealous. And we get upset. And it bothers us. And we don't know how to deal with it. So what do we do then? So we do what Korach did. Korach, who was from a great lineage, from the mishpacha of Moshe Rabbeinu, who was around godless, he was around greatness. He was around Kedusha. He was around Torah. He was around mitzvahs. He was around the Shechina. He heard the Shechina speak by Har Sinai, Anoichi Hashem Elokecha. I am Hashem, your God, Korach. And you are my child, Korach. And you will have your place, and Moshe Rabbeinu will have his place, and Aaron will have his place. And it doesn't make one greater or worse than the other. It just means everybody has their role to play in Klal Yisrael. But KORACH was jealous. And his jealousy led him, unfortunately, as it says in the Parsha this week, Vayikach KORACH, he took people, and he took a stance, and he took a side of the Machlokes, of the argument that he wanted to make against Moshe Rabbeinu. And we all know that after all is said and done, KORACH is wrong, and Moshe Rabbeinu, Navi Yisrael, beloved, treasured of the Ribbono Shel Olam, whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu does against Klal Yisrael, Moshe davens and davens, and his prayers are always answered. You're going to fight against Moshe? It's almost comical. It's silly. You watch the man split the sea. You watched him go up to the Har Sinai 40 days, 40 nights. Lo yochel, he didn't eat, he didn't drink. And he came down with luchais. He came down with Torah. He came down with a face that was shining so bright. He had to cover his face with a veil so nobody should see, because they couldn't handle the brightness, the Kedusha. You are going to fight with Moshe Rabbeinu? Yes, when a person gets jealous, and a person doesn't appreciate who they are and what they have, their greatness, their koichos, their abilities, their talents, their skills, their potential. And we just see what everybody else has. Such a nice car, such a nice house, such a nice wife, such nice kids. Everybody smiles at him when he walks in the shul. His kids are always running over to him. What can I get you, Tati? How can I help you? And what I have? Mi ani, who am I? I don't see all of that glory, all of that bracha, all that splendor. Parnas is difficult. My house is run down. The car could use some new tires. Life doesn't always go as planned. I'm not as prestigious, as noble, and as well received as he is. So I end up becoming jealous. Instead of just looking at all of the glory, all the goodness that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put inside of me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu filled up every one of us with a Tselem Elokim. A Tselem Elokim means a piece of the Ribbono Shel Olam is inside of you. Is there anything wrong with Hashem? Is there anything lacking in Hashem? Is there any weakness in the Ribbono Shel Olam? That Hashem is shleimus, amiti, completely good, and shalom, and total and complete. Chesed, rachamim, midos, toivos, and godliness. And all of that is inside of you. So why are you getting jealous of somebody else? They have their godliness. They have their greatness. They have their koiches that Hashem has given to them, just like He bestowed upon you. But KORACH couldn't see that. He was jaded. He was blinded. He was blinded by covet, by the honor that he was looking for recognition in this world. He was blinded by the seeking and the searching of power. He was blinded by being happy for somebody else and the strengths and the brachas that they have. And he couldn't see all of the godless, all the greatness that he himself had. It's interesting because the word KORACH, Kuf, Reish, Ches, if you turn the letters around, you get Rachik, far away. KORACH was so far away from understanding himself. He was so far away from seeing the truth of himself. He was so far away from understanding the godless, the greatness that HaKadosh Baruch Hu embedded inside of his neshama. And as a result of that, he was unable to move forward in a positive way. He picked odds with Moshe Rabbeinu. And he lost the battle miserably. Because someone that is chaylik, that argues on Moshe, you are chaylik on Hashem. And someone who doesn't appreciate all the good that Hashem gives to him, doesn't see all the greatness that Hashem has laid inside of him, doesn't see the potential that HaKadosh Baruch has bestowed upon him, you're chaylik on Hashem. You're against the Ribbono Shel Olam. Because Hashem has filled all of us up with Tselem Elokim. The Tselem Elokim, the godliness, the perfection of Hashem is inside each and every one of us. And if only we will see that, and then see it and believe it and act upon it, everybody will become the God or the great person that they could become. Without jealousy, without shame, without embarrassment, without feeling bad about yourself and down on yourself. No, why would I? HaKadosh Baruch Hu made me the way that I am. That's Hashem's plan. He gave me the money that I have, the house that I have, the wife that I have, the children that I have. He gave that to me. Why? Because therein lies my secret to my success. Hakol biyedei Shemayim. Everything is in the hands of Shemayim. Chutz miyiras Shemayim, except for one's fear and their awe of heaven. Explains Rashi, that means everything in your life from inception, every situation, every person you will come in contact with, all of your midos, all korosif, everything that you will deal with in your life, all decided by Hashem. But you have the bechira, the free will to decide how you're going to deal with everything. And there lies your strength. Just as Hashem is a boicher, Hashem chooses. Everything in this world Hashem has chosen exactly as He wants to bring about His glory and bring about the best for Klal Yisrael. So too I can be a boicher like the Ribbono Shel Olam and choose what's best for my avodas Hashem, for my life, for my family, for my Torah, for my mitzvahs, for my tefillah, and what I can offer to Klal Yisrael, and how I can be a nachas ruach liyotzor. I can bring great nachas to Hashem. And that is why the Mishnah tells us about the evil machlokes that KORACH had with Moshe Rabbeinu the following. Kol machlokes shi l'shem Shemayim. Any machlokes, any argument, any fight that's going to take place, if it's l'shem Shemayim, for the sake of heaven, Seifa li'yiskayim, at the end of the day, that machlokes, it will endure, because it'll be positive and we'll have what to learn from it. V'she'eino l'shem Shemayim, but if it's not for the sake of heaven, ein seifa li'yiskayim, it will not endure, it will not last, it's going to fall apart. What is the machlokes? What is the argument between two people that was for the sake of heaven to bring glory to Hashem's name? Zu machlokes Hillel v'Shammai, the great base Hillel, the great Shammai. They argued, they fought, they didn't agree with each other, but they were seeking the truth. They weren't putting another person down. They weren't jealous of the other one's mental capacities and abilities. No. They were each searching and seeking, bring Hashem into this world. And therefore, although they argued, and although they fought, and at the end of the day, we go like Beis Hillel, not like Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai could admit and agree, yes, Hillel, because of your milas, your greatness, your humility, and the like, that's why we go like you. And Beis Shammai was not jealous. And therefore that machlokes, it endures, it lasts, it continues, it goes on until this very day. In the Bati Midrashim of Klal Yisrael, in the yeshivas, in every shir that we have. Because Hillel and Shammai, they weren't against each other. They weren't jealous of each other. They were fighting things out for the sake of bringing glory to Hashem. However, v'she'eino l'shem Shemayim, what is the machlokes? What is the argument that took place in the history of Klal Yisrael that is not l'shem Shemayim? Zu machlokes KORACH v'chol hadasai. It is the machlokes of KORACH and all of his cronies. Now, doesn't it take two people to have a machlokes? When we're dealing with the machlokes, the argument that was l'shem shamayim, so it says Hillel and Shammai. It's two sides. When we get to the machlokes, when we get to the argument that is not l'shem shamayim, which is not for the sake of heaven, we say KORACH va'adosai. KORACH and his cronies were on one side. Wasn't Moshe Rabbeinu on the other side? How did the Mishnah forget to mention Moshe? Once the machlokes that was not l'shem shamayim, that was not for the sake of heaven, should have been KORACH against Moshe. And the Mishnah leaves Moshe's name out. And the answer that the Bali Musa and the Mefarshim tell us is because Moshe Rabbeinu did not engage in the machlokes, in the arguments with KORACH. He was l'shem shamayim, for the sake of heaven, just trying to reveal the glory of the Shekhinah. It was KORACH alone who was busy fighting because of his jealousy, because of his frustration, because of his anger, because of his not realizing and recognizing all the good, all the kedusha that Hashem gave to him. He didn't appreciate the role that Hashem bequeathed upon him in Klal Yisrael. So he's fighting and fighting and fighting. Moshe Rabbeinu is not fighting against him. Moshe Rabbeinu is representing Hashem. That's l'shem shamayim. I appreciate who I am. I understand what I have. I see there's somebody over here is being chaylik on me. If you are fighting me, you're fighting the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's my job now to defend the honor and the glory of Hashem. And therefore there was no internal machlokes between KORACH and Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu never engaged in the fight that there was. And this really is what we have to think about for ourselves. As we are living in these tumultuous times, and there are enemies of Klal Yisrael that are banding together, Rachmana litzlan, they're garnering troops and weapons and power. And the enemies who cannot exist together, suddenly they are perhaps best friends in the world. And they want to come and they want to, Rachmana litzlan, bring about their missiles and the like on Klal Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael. So our mission, our goal during this time, one of the many things that our nation has to work on is we cannot have internal machlokes, one Jew to another. We cannot fight one against the other. I cannot allow my jealousy to overlook the friendship that I have with my dear friend, even though that he's doing substantially better than I am. Even though that his portfolio is off the charts right now. And mine didn't even make it to the charts. But I'm not going to let my jealousy intercede and get in the way of our friendship. I'm certainly never going to speak a word of Lashon Hara behind his back to somebody else. And I certainly would not allow my jealousy and my personal frustration to cause me to be chaylik, to go against him. Because when you're chaylik on another yid, you are chaylik on the Rebbeinu Shalom. Hashem gave him that success, and Hashem gave you your success. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him that lifestyle, and he gave you your lifestyle. And believe me, that person has his nisyonos, his struggles, his challenges, which are unique to him. Just like HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave your challenges and your struggles, which are unique to you as well. And therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu, he never entered the machlokes. Moshe Rabbeinu stayed out of the argument, and he was merely there to defend the glory of the Rebbeinu Shalom. Years ago, we had the schus that Rav Dovid Brizak, one of the great mechanchim of our generation, spoke in our shul. And he said over an amazing story. He said that he had a very good friend in Eretz Yisrael who was not such an old person, we'll call him middle-aged. And unfortunately, his wife, at a relatively young time in her life, began going senile. And as a result of her senility, she would blurt things out that were inappropriate. And she often would get angry at her husband for no reason at all. And she would do it in front of her children, in front of guests, and sometimes when they were in public, if she was getting very agitated, that's what senility does to a person sometimes, unfortunately, lo aleinu, she could end up blasting not nice comments and words and actions towards her husband. And it was very embarrassing for this man, very embarrassing. Embarrassing at home, embarrassing at a simcha, embarrassing in public. It was embarrassing. I'm a grown man, my wife is a grown woman, she's calling me names, she's making faces, she's getting angry, she's being demanding and demonstrative. What's going on over here? So he came to Rabbi Brizak, a good friend of his, and he said, Rabbi, I don't know what to do. I really don't, it's so hard. There's many times my wife gets angry, I want to put her in her place. I want to tell her, stop talking to me like that. I want to get upset with her. How come I'm not a shmata? I don't want to be walked all over all of my life. And if she's only such a relatively young woman now, it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. What am I going to do? And it's getting very hard, especially, he says, in front of my children. That my wife should talk to me like that, put me down, shame me, embarrass me in front of my children? How can I let that happen? So Rabbi Brizak said to him the following. He said, my dear friend, I cannot know the pain that you are going through. I can't really understand. I'm sure that the busha and the klima, the shame and the embarrassment is enormous. I'm sure the way that you feel when you're walking on eggshells in your house, when you go to a simcha, you just want to have a good time, and your wife comes storming over to you and starts pointing her finger at you and making fun of you. I'm sure that it hurts emotionally beyond belief. And I'm so sorry that you have to go through this. But I do want to tell you one thing. A person who learns how to keep their mouth closed and not engage in the battle, you never have any idea the schar, the reward, or the impact that you are going to make on yourself, on others, perhaps on Klal Yisrael as a result of that. You have no idea. And so if you're asking me, although I cannot understand truly the emotional anguish that you are in, I would suggest that you do not get angry and answer back to your wife. She's senile, she can't help it. And you take the brunt of what she has to say, and you behave l'mayla min hateva, above the laws of nature, of shame, of frustration, of anger, of embarrassment, and you never know what the schar, what the reward is going to be. The man was a sensitive soul, and he heard the words of Rabbi Brizak loud and clear. And he said, okay, I'm going to try it. No less than a few weeks later, he calls Rabbi Brizak. He says, Rebbe, I have to come and tell you something, an amazing maisa. He says, come, tell me, I'm available, come. And the man comes in and he's teary-eyed and he's smiling, and you can see something fantastic just happened. And he says, Rabbi Brizak, you remember my question to you? Yes, of course. You know how hard it is? Yes, of course. But I was makabel, I listened to what you said. And I decided, my poor wife, my poor senile wife, Nebuch, this poor woman, she's not doing it on purpose. She doesn't mean to embarrass me and to shame me. My poor wife. So you know what? I'm not going to allow myself to get upset. I'm not going to answer her back like I want to. I'm not going to put her in a place like I want to. I'm going to leave things as they are. If she embarrasses me, so be it. She degrades me, that's what will be. She goes in public and she shakes and wags her finger at me in front of all my friends at the chasana, and I'm ashamed. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. That will be my tikkun here in this world. Says Rabbi Brizak, I've been doing this diligently for the last several weeks. Listen what happened. My children were in the other room, and they were schmoozing like children, brothers and sisters do. And they got to that age-old question: who would you like to be like when you grow up? What would you like to be? Who would you like to be when you grow up? So each one is giving a different answer. And then my son says the following. And they didn't know I was in the other room in earshot that I could hear what they were saying. My son says, when I grow up, I want to be like Tati. And then he explained, do you see the way that mommy talks to Tati? Do you see the way that she belittles him and embarrasses him and shames him in our house, in public, in front of other people, his friends? And what does Tati do? Nothing. He doesn't say a word. He doesn't answer back. He doesn't fight back. When I grow up, I want to be just like Tati. Rabbi say, when we grow up, whenever that will be, right now, in a shas milcham, at a time of war, at a time when the world is against us, at a time when every single minute and every single day it's unknown what's going to be. It is time for us to grow up. And who do we want to be like as mature Jewish spiritual adults? We have to be like a Moshe Rabbeinu, not like a KORACH chas v'chalila. Like a Moshe Rabbeinu, his name is left out of the Mishnah. He didn't engage in Machlokes. He didn't answer back to a KORACH because he was jealous and defending himself. No, he's l'shem shemaim. I'm for the sake of Hashem and heaven. And every time that I could keep myself out of the Machlokes, every time I don't get angry and jealous and frustrated and disgruntled, and I don't shame or disgrace or put another person down or hold a grudge for years and years and years against the person. There's a mice I heard years ago. 2 sisters. They got in some big fight over what? Shtus, as it always is. Something small. So much so that as the years went on, they couldn't even remember what it is that they got in a fight about. And as they were getting older, so many times, people in the family, children and relatives tried to make them make peace. Never. Until one of the sisters took ill. And she was lying in the hospital. And she was getting close to her final moments of life. And one of the children called her sister and said, "Your dear sister is dying in the hospital. It is the last chance you're ever going to have to ask Mechila, to say, let bygones be bygones, forget about the Machlokes, we don't even remember what it's about anymore. It's your last chance right now. Why don't you come and ask your sister forgiveness? She should be moichel you, you'll be moichel her, and she can die at peace." And this sister heard the cry. And she came running to the hospital. And the whole time she was in the car, she was preparing herself, rehearsing the words she was going to say. "Please, my dear sister, whatever happened, happened. You're going to leave this world. Let's leave as friends. Let's leave with love. Let's leave as partners here. Avas Yisrael, let's leave with that." She comes to the hospital. Her heart is racing. She goes up the elevator. She comes to the room. She sees her sister lying on what will become her deathbed, hooked up to tubes and machines and all the like. And she walks over to her sister. And her sister is looking with that glazed look in her eyes. And she says, "Rachel, my dear sister, please, please, So many years we weren't in each other's life. So many years we were at odds with one another. So many years we couldn't even share in each other's simchas. So much water has passed under this bridge. Let's leave it alone. And before you leave this world, please, I beg of you, let it be and let go. I'm asking you, Mechila, from the bottom of my heart, please forgive me for anything I might have done to you, to hurt you, to cause you pain. Please leave this world in a way that you and I are friends. But achdus, together as sisters should be. And I am meichel you. I don't even know what to be meichel you. Whatever it's for, please. I forgive you. You forgive me. And at this moment, her eyes open up. And she has a look of recognition of her sister's voice, of understanding what she asked. And her sister's looking at her, and she's believing that her sister's going to actually give her mechila. And suddenly from her bed of death, she looks at her sister and she roars, "Never!" And she leaps from the bed as much as she could, and she bites the ear of her sister and falls back in the bed. And shortly after, her energy and strength leaves and she dies. When will we grow up? When we're 60, 70, 80, 90, how do we know we'll ever grow up? We could be like this old woman till the very bitter end, never! But if we learn, if we understand that when you're chaylik, when you argue on somebody else, you're really being chaylik on Hashem. You're really denying yourself the abilities to see Hashem has taken care of them. He also takes care of me. Hashem gave them what they need to fulfill their tafkid purpose in this world. He's giving me what I need to fulfill my tafkid in this world. And why are you getting jealous? Why are you getting upset? Why are you getting so angry? Why are you making machlokes with another Jew? Why are you doing that? Are you like KORACH la'adasai, KORACH and all of his cronies? Chas v'chalila. We have to be like Moshe Rabbeinu, emissary of Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu, the greatest midah, is the most humble man of the universe. Moshe Rabbeinu lived a life of kavod shemaim. I just want to make sure that the Shekhinah is going to revel here in this world, and that other Yidden will see how beautiful it is to be a Jew. I will make peace, not chalila, machlokes, and wars with other people. And when we do that, and we create the achdus, the unity of Klal Yisrael, we break down the barriers that have existed for maybe 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 30 years in our life with people sometimes not even close to us. So then when we band together, when we are as one, when we are a tzibur HaKadoshah, we are a nation that is filled with holiness and sanctity and Tselem Elokim, that gives tremendous koiches to this world. Tremendous tenu'ois Elokim. You give strength to the Rabbi Shalom. Hashem wants to run the world in the best way possible. Sometimes, as a number of our many sins, they block the way. And Hashem does not bring into this world all of His glory, all of His chesed, all of His kindness, all of His protection. But tenuah is Elokim, like it says in the Nefesh HaChaim, when you down here are doing your job the way that you're supposed to, when you are living a life that is beautiful and beloved in the eyes of Hashem, when you are running away from machlokes and you're running towards Avas Yisrael, and you're filling up your heart with the love for every single Jew, no matter what they did to you, and you break down the walls of machlokes that have existed for who knows decades on end, and you could be friends once again, says the Rabbi Shalom, thank you for giving me the eyes, the strength, to be able to shoot down every ballistic missile that goes in the sky, to rid the world of our enemies, and to bring Klal Yisrael singing and dancing to Yerushalayim Yer HaKodesh B'meira v'yameinu. Because when we are together, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at his children. Every parent loves when their children are getting along. Every mother, every father, they are in pain when their children are separated. But when they see them together, hugging, kissing, loving each other, doing things together, being in each other's lives, dancing at each other's simchas, helping another guy get a job, even if it means you're going to lose some money for yourself, I will do for them. Because that makes Hashem happy. And that gives koyach and strength and ois to the Ribono Shel Olam, boldness. And then the world becomes a different world. And the enemies are on the outside. And Klal Yisrael in the inner world of Hashem. And we are protected on all sides. The great and the saintly Chazon Ish was once asked the following question: what is the highest level that a Jew can aspire to in this world? Chazon Ish, Tzaddik Yisod Olam, his whole life was invested in Torah, learning for hours and hours on end, coming up with all of the halachic decisions for the generation. He restored halacha to Eretz Yisrael, to Klal Yisrael. A man of Yirah Shamayim, a man of tremendous midos, a man of tefillah. There are legendary stories of the Chazon Ish when he would be on his own. He didn't know that anybody was watching. When he would say over Birchas HaTorah in the morning, he would cry so many tears, they would gather as a puddle by his feet. So if you ask the Chazon Ish, tell me, great Chazon Ish, what is the highest level that a Jew could aspire to in this world? He'll tell you, become a tzaddik in Torah, a tzaddik in tefillah, in Yiras Shamayim, in Amunah. What's the greatness that you could achieve? The Chazon Ish answered the following: the greatest, highest level that a person can aspire to in this world is to pass 70 years of one's life without offending anyone. Could you live a life where you are so careful about the honor of somebody else, where you never allow your bad midos and your jealousy to get in the way, where you're always looking for the good in another, and you're happy for them, for their simchas and for their success, and it pains you when they are suffering and they are struggling, and therefore you will always be so careful when you are talking to them and you are dealing with them and you are looking at them, never to offend that person. But the Chazon Ish says something remarkable: never to offend anyone. 70 years. That means in the house, with your spouse, with your children, people that come to your house by your Shabbos table. That means the guy in shul that's driving you crazy. And you never lash back. You never make a face. You never nothing. Because you don't want to offend him. He's offended. I don't want to offend anybody else. Not the cashier in the store who can't seem to get the order right. Not the maitre d' at the restaurant who lets somebody else go in front of you. Not the guy in the freeway over there where it's going 2 miles per hour if you're lucky and he cuts you off so you can get into the other lane. Nothing. I would never want to offend anyone. Because that's the tafkid, that's the tachlis of life. To be a person who just appreciates what HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given to me. I appreciate my godless, my greatness, my gifts, the treasures that Hashem has bestowed upon me. And I am happy for everyone else for what HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given to them, and I'm not jealous of them. Because if I do get jealous, I'll end up going into Machlokes. And if I'm chaylik, if I argue on them, and I detest them, and I bear grudges against them, I'm contentious against them, really? I'm going against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because I don't recognize that Hashem gives everyone exactly what they need. And my Tzelem Elokim was made for me, so that I could enlighten myself and emulate the ways of Hashem the way that only I could do that. And if I go in that direction, and I do that which HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, and we break down the barriers of Machlokes, where Tenu'ois L'Elokim, we give strength to the Rebbeinu Shalom, and Hashem then takes care of everything, every enemy, every missile, every threat, every warfare, everything. Ish Milchama. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the warrior, and he'll fight every battle as long as we give him the ammunition. Our ammunition is Achdus. Our ammunition is don't be jealous. Our ammunition is love a fellow Jew the way that you love yourself. Our ammunition is someone's doing well, successful, so happy for you. I'm really so happy for you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Wow, you got such an amazing job. You're making so much money. You don't have stress at the end of every month like me. Wow. Ashrecha, fortunate are you. And then I turn Hashem, and everything you've given me, I'm also equally, if not more happy, because it's mine. And you've given me everything that I need to fulfill my mission, my purpose, my essence here in this world. I want to leave you off with one last Maisa. It's a story that we heard here in Tarzana, California, exactly when it happened. And it used to be that when we told the Maisa, we didn't say the names because we didn't want to reveal who the people were in case somebody would take offense to it. But Yoel Gold, Rabbi Gold, he ended up making a beautiful video about this particular story, and he interviewed them, and their names are well known now, so we can say the names also. The story goes back quite a few years. There was a friendship that existed between Mrs. Zeberman and Mrs. Plotzker. They were the best of friends. They did everything together, everything. The kids played together, they drove carpools together, they went places together, family vacation, everything together. They were such good friends, loving like sisters. One day, after this many years of such a great friendship, something happened. Mrs. Zeberman did something that Mrs. Plotzker did not quite understand in the right way. And she got upset. She got very upset, actually. And as a result of it, she decided, I can't be her friend anymore. Ms. Zeberman tried to explain herself. You didn't understand. It was a miscommunication. That's not really what I meant. Too late. And the best friends, like sisters, they went to suddenly for years and years and years and years not talking to each other. See each other by some kind of school event, go the other way. Show up at a chasana, and there she is, turn the other way. You're somewhere in a restaurant, and they walk in, you get up and you walk out. Not going to be here while they're there. Terrible. Machlokes, for what? They didn't even know it was for. And went on like this for years. One day, I believe Zach Plotzker, the son of Mrs. Plotzker, he was not feeling so well. And he went to the doctor. They began running a battery of tests, and they found that, lo and behold, his kidney was failing. And he needs a new kidney. And he goes to the great organization, Renewal, and they swab him, and they take all his results, and they say, we have to find you a donor as fast as possible. This is life and death, pikuach nefesh. And so, as they do in many Jewish communities, they send out all of the signs and the emails making a swab day. Anyone that wants to come and save the life of a young man, try and see maybe you're a perfect match of your kidney. And on that day, one of the sons of Mrs. Zeberman saw the flyer, and he said, you know what? Let me go and see. Maybe I'm a match, who knows? And lo and behold, he was. And Renewal called him, they said, you are a perfect match. Now the Plotzkers don't know that it's going to be him, but he already knows, he and his family, they know already who it's for. The day of the surgery, so the Zebermans come into the hospital early with their son as he goes for pre-op. It's a major surgery. They're going to take out one of his kidneys. And as they're sitting in the waiting room and they're saying Tehillim and they're davening that everything should be a success, suddenly the Plotzkers walk into the hospital. And when she sees her old friend Hillary, she walks over and she says, even here, you know what we're going through today? My son is dying and he needs a new kidney. Even today you want to shame me and embarrass me like this? Even here you come? And the Zeberman says, wait a second. Do you know why we are here? The reason that we are here is because our son is giving your son his kidney so that your son will be able to live. And that moment, as you can imagine, the dam broke and the tears began flowing, and these two sisters, best friends, fell into each other's arms, heaving and sobbing. And the Machlokes came to an end at that moment. And today, they are best friends once again. They are best friends going everywhere together, eating lunch together, going to chasanas together, spending time together. Because when you're chaylik on another Jew, you're actually chaylik on Hashem. That's not good. But to nu oiz la'elokim, to give strength to the Ribono Shel Olam, by you ending machlokes, ending arguments, fighting and the like, that is a great chesed that we can do for Hashem and for Klal Yisrael during this time in history. May we be zeichem Yetz Hashem to get rid of our jealousy, get rid of our pain, get rid of our angst. Stop longing for what other people have and be grateful to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for everything that we have in all the different areas of our life. To be besimcha for somebody else and their success and what they accomplish. And in that schus, break down the walls of machlokes and then give tremendous glory and power and might to the Ish Melchama, the Ribono Shel Olam, the warrior of this world. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will protect us from all the enemies, from all the missiles, from all the anti-Semitism, from all the hatred. And then that will be the ultimate schos. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring us ba'achdus, with real avas Yisrael coursing through our veins and our heart and our neshamas. He'll bring us singing and dancing together as one. To Yerushalayim Yir HaKodesh, with the building of the Bayis Shlishi, b'mheira v'yameinu.